This episode includes lots of bright ideas in the electrical department, and we'll probably be finishing off the paint. And you never know, the seat might even get finished. Exciting package in the post today. My backlight idea. There it is. Doesn't look very exciting, does it? What on earth is he up to? It's the Augusta seat, but it's just for the purposes of demonstration of the concept. And I've got all the protective stuff on it as well still, so I don't want to scratch it just yet. But that's the general idea. No, it's not just a strip of LED. It's a Perspex block. This one's not polished. It's slightly bigger, it's 5 inches. The other one I got coming is 4 1/4. But you kind of get the idea. That's kind of cool, right? Yeah, so you don't actually see all the LEDs. You just get this nice kind of red light. Yeah, so I stole that idea. Kind of. So that's the running light, that's the brake light. Running light, brake light. You get the gist of the idea. That's kind of cool, right? And then it runs along the side as well. How cool is that? I think it's very cool. The problem, as always, is the question of how and where to mount it. I rather like that kind of strapped across the top, you know, if that was glued to a strap that went between a frame, that would work. I mean, I was toying with the idea of these mounts here. For this bigger one, they're kind of not going to work. For the smaller one, they might. So hopefully that will come in next week and we can take it from there, having decided which one we're going to use. And for the full effect, in the dark. And something turned up for the Monster. Yes, indeed. Difficult to spot though, and not in place properly, but yeah, baffles. I never thought I'd be trying to make a bike quieter, but it is a bit bloody loud. So we'll see what that sounds like. It'll probably rattle a bit if I don't secure them, but yeah. Got to finish the fuel tank first, I suppose. Always something. Good news is they do fit perfectly. They're not tight, but I think that's good enough for a baffle. Very baffling. We shall find out anyway. More alien cladding for the wiring. Well, I like it, and I think it looks neater and tidier. And thanks to a little bit of friction tape and my friction tape dispenser handle, yeah, tidied all that up. Running out of zip ties though, that's a bit of a problem. Need to order some more of them. Oh yeah, and this turned up as well. Tank pad. Crucial bit of equipment. And I think it'll look quite nice. Quite subtle. And bear in mind all this square shit won't be there. Yeah, like that. Jolly good. Things coming together quite nicely. Except for the seat. Which involves Derek, of course, which is always a randomness into the equation. And I haven't heard from him for a week. Nothing new there then. Well, that was more complicated than it needed to be, just in terms of reverse logic, actually, to get that adjusting nut in there to actually tighten up so that this doesn't move. And it doesn't move. So that's good. I'm going to have to take it all off again. Obviously, because I'm going to paint this any minute now, hopefully. Rather depends whether Posty has delivered the paint or not. Okay, it's tea-cut time, otherwise known as tedious time, because it's bloody hard work. But it's coming up nice. It's made harder work by the fact the temperature is 108 outside. Yes, here in Sedona, not in Phoenix. I think it's 118 in Phoenix. That is just... yeah, madness. Well, I thought I'd put a tank on to test the new mufflers, And so I did. Boy, am I fed up with fuel leaks. Thankfully they're fine once the quick release are in, but when they're out, if it's at a certain angle, i.e. the angle you have to tip it at to fix everything in, the fuel pisses out the out, as it would. So clearly that valve isn't shutting off 100% when you take out the quick release. Tedious again, covered in fuel again. Time for a cigarette again. By the way, having T-cut the tank, it's very disappointing. Yeah. Who knows what this is going to sound like with the mufflers not actually in place, i.e. not bolted in place. There could be a lot of rattling going on, so let's see what happens. Let's get that out of the way. And yeah, we like the petrol overflow pipe straight onto the exhaust pipe. That looks good. Yep, okay. Okay. See what happens. That was too funny. I'm going to have to show you what happened. I'm going to need the help of my glamorous assistant. And this time it's my glamorous assistant, not David. No offence, mate, but you're just not my type. This'll work. No assistance required. Still laughing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try it properly, I guess. I'm gonna have to wedge them in somehow. Copious screwdrivers. Let's try again. I'm avoiding revving it up, so let's see what that looks like on the decibel meter. Doesn't sound much quieter to me. Engine warning light on, that's not good. Taking them out now and the engine warning light's gone off. Interesting. Well, I've taken the screwdrivers out. Idling a little high. Well, I was hoping for a little bit more difference than that, but basically those kind of cut it down by, I don't know, like 4 or 5 decibels. Really not worth the bother, which is a bit disappointing. Again, it's not massively surprising because they're pretty short. About half the length of the ones that I put in the MV, actually. I might just try that old wire wool trick, stuffing wire wool round the baffles before I put them in. Might help keep them in place as well. Totally gonna have to repaint this tank anyway, because I mean, well, at least the gold bit, but yeah, the whole of it, honestly. So I must have been drunk. No, I wasn't, actually. It was because I masked it not square on, obviously. I mean, look at it. It's a mile off. Hell. Okay. And yeah, so just generally that engine paint, yeah, it's just not good, is it? I mean, it was a good idea at the time. I mean, obviously it wasn't a good idea because it looks crap. Well, it works. Even in my slippers, David. Actually, between that and just the general finish, I think that's one of the worst paint jobs I've ever done since I was about 16. That's appalling. Well, my lava roll of exhaust wrap arrived today. It's obviously not the same colour, but it's not bad. I quite like that. So, yes, I shall be wrapping. Watch out, M&M. So that wrapped up quite nicely. I went down as far as that little doofer there. because the lambda sensor is behind that. I don't really want to get involved with doing all 3 pipes coming out of there, so it seems like a sensible place to stop to me. And yeah, so this is the thing that doesn't really work. Those, yeah, they're not tight enough, and I don't know how to get them any tighter. Same problem I had on the race car. So I have a cunning plan. That's right, my favourite super duper hose clips, because I've got a lot, I might as well use them. Italian beer, obviously. Cheers. Much better solution. Yes. Unfortunately, those super duper clips didn't fit at this point. Just slightly too much girth. So I had to use a regular Jubilee or hose clip. It's okay, it's underneath. Still a vast improvement on those ridiculous metal zip ties that aren't zippy. Which reminds me, I've got some more zip ties. No point in messing around. Got a shed load. I'm not going to use them. So because of these silly, ridiculously thin wires on that LED fitting for the rear light, I'm using the very thin melty jobs, and I test fitted it on the bike wire, and the other end will just squeeze over the wire with the plastic sheath on, but you have to do it this way round, because otherwise there's no strength in the silly little wire to push into and mix with the wires of the bike wiring. So this is a real fiddle. We'll see if it works, wire by wire probably. Right, that's the earth done. So love that. Yeah, all good so far. All done. Got better as I went along, as usual. And there we have running lights and brake lights, running lights, brake lights. Jubbly. I've actually wrapped it using that friction tape. It's like, yeah, what? No skeletal alien stuff? No. Good reason. I've got to feed it in between the frame and the rear shock absorber mount. So it's a little narrow and just big enough to get this boy through. So yeah, that's why. And nobody's going to see it. And this friction tape is pretty good actually. I was a bit worried I wasn't going to have enough cable actually, but as you can see, that's roughly where it's going to go. And got a nice big loop there to play with, so that's good. Not that it matters, because I've got to take these off anyway, but I just noticed I put the peg on upside down. And yes, is there an upside and a downside? Well, there is, and this is why. So there's a curved edge there, and then a flat edge there. And the reason is that you put the curve edge up so that if you ground the peg out, it will flip up and not just stick in the ground and pull you over, which is very important on a Harley Davidson, because as soon as you lean it like 3 degrees, you're grounding the pegs out. Not so important on this boy, because we've got a lot of clearance. So yeah, just a hot tip and a hot mess. Plenty of exhaust strap left, so I guess the next project will be having its exhaust straps if I can help it, but it's always good to have stock of stuff. Talking of which, if anyone needs some completely useless metal tie wraps, I've got a few left over. Given where it's at right now, although I'm going to repaint the foot peg things, I'm reconsidering the name of the bike. I'm thinking of calling it 50 Shades of Gold. Maybe it'll be a hit. More exhaustive packages today. Wire wool for the Ducati and some alternative heat deflection system for the MV. Clearly they're a bit on the long side, but I knew that when I ordered them. Sadly, they don't fit inside, so they're just balancing on there at the moment. They were supposed to be 1.5 inch, which should have fitted in a muffler, but it doesn't. So, more modification required. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking, that they'll chop so that just before the curve and be nice and short and deflect the heat away from my leg. And everyone will be happy, including Derek, because he's going to have to do that job for me. Didn't really think this one through either in terms of a solution, just knew it was a possible solution. The problem is the existing baffle, for want of a better word, is already tight to the outer edge of the exhaust, and this baby is pretty tight. Can't really see, can you? No, not going to get a good shot of that. Anyway, it's pretty tight to that baffle. Can we get a shot? Focus, baby. Nah. Alright, anyway, you have to take my word for it, but it's pretty tight. So, there's kind of nowhere for the wool to go. Didn't really think that one through, did I? Yeah, there's a little edge there, but I mean, yeah. You can't just stuff it down the middle, because then I don't think it'll run at all. So I guess I'm just going to have to run with the Harleys and be ridiculously loud. At least I'll be quick at the same time, which is more than could be said for them. So, on that exhaust note, I think we'll call it a wrap. Wow, 2 puns for the price of one. Yes, thanks again for watching. As always, do subscribe if you haven't already, so we can do this again, and encourage others to watch my lunacy. Oh, I nearly forgot. Yes, do go to the Social Mediocre and subscribe to them too, because that all helps apparently.